Hello and welcome to Financial Foundations. I'm Shannon Acosta. I'm a financial advisor and CFP at Benchmark.
I am Elian Levatino. I'm also a financial advisor in CFP here at Benchmark. And Shannon and I are tag teaming budget today. March is the month of budgeting where we talk about the questions you send into us. And we're going to tag team two of them today.
We'll start with why should I budget? This is a good question, one that you should probably have an internal question to before you embark on something like that. And there are a few categories that the rationale falls into. There's some you might cotton to more than others. The first one deals with the emotional component. It reduces guilt and worry. When you spend money that you've already planned for, you can do it stress-free. And have you ever given a gift to anybody, Elian, and you kind of see the look, instead of sheer delight that you're expecting, you've been planning for this gift and you're so excited to give it to them, there's a little bit of terror and dread on
Absolutely,
their face,
yeah.
along with the words of, it's too much.
Yeah.
That is fear and anxiety. I'm not sure. I love the gift. I'm not sure if it fits in with the rest of our goals and with our income. So not only does that play into gift giving, but it plays into day-to-day activities as well, like going out to eat. You go out to dinner with friends. If you've planned a certain amount that you'll allow yourself to spend on entertainment like that every month, guilt-free, you just enjoy your company. But if you haven't, there is definitely going to be a little nagging sense in the back of your head that wonders, am I going to have to pay for this later? The second reason that we want to consider budgeting is that it'll help you stop overspending. Recent study from 2018 said that 55% of Americans overspend on a regular basis. If you're one of them, we love you. There's no judgment there, but that train is eventually going to run out of the tracks. The math doesn't add up. You'll pay for it later, and it's not going to be fun. And there was another.
Yeah, a step past that was 78% of people could not cover a $1,000 emergency. I mean, that shows that people are overspending, but also have no savings, which is a double whammy when emergencies do hit.
And this is a very curable issue. It's hard to do. Yes, we get that. And you're not alone, but there's a benefit to knowing where every dollar is going, and a lot of it has to do with overspending. Elian, did you graduate from high school?
Barely.
Did you like high school?
High school was hard, but we made it. So any of my high school buddies watching this, go Eagles, we did it.
Well, when you showed up, did they have a kind of a curriculum for you to follow, or did they just shove you in and say, hey, in 4 years, we'd like you to leave with a degree, thanks?
Yeah, very regimented, which I'm assuming yours was too.
Mine was too. Also didn't love high school, but my humor was ahead of my time.
I believe that.
The cool kids didn't get it. If you've ever trained for
anything. If you've ever met Shannon, you get that joke. You understand where she's coming from.
If you've ever trained for anything, stop talking. If you've ever trained for anything, like a major race or a half marathon or a marathon, if you've ever lost weight or gotten some health back on track, you have budgeted. Maybe not with your money, but with your time, with your efforts, with your diet, with your education. It makes something that's really hard and it doesn't seem attainable. It breaks it down into chunks that make it doable. And a budget it helps you pursue your goals. If you've got a big vacation goal, we're going to try and get to Disney this year. Don't tell my kids. I haven't told them yet, but we have to plan for that. We can't just show up and say we're ready with, money to cover it. Bottom line, budgeting helps you pursue your goals, and goals are great. You should do them. It eliminates the feast or famine mindset. Budgeting does.
That's big.
This one's huge. What do you think about this?
Well, you can live your life in fear if it's feast or famine, and the short-term mentality of I'm feasting right now, I love this, and then everything that comes along with it on the back end when you're in famine mode. And unfortunately, if you're in feast mode, famine mode tends to last 5 or 6 times as long as the feast mode, and that's a difficult way to live on a day-to-day.
Well, and it's just not comfortable. Like you said, that's stressful. We like consistency. We like knowing what to expect. We like going to bed at the same time every night. We don't want to have to change our patterns throughout the month just depending on how much money is left over in the account. Again, you're not alone if you fall in that category, and we love you and we want to help you overcome any stress associated with that, which is why we're mentioning it. Finally, and overarching, the fifth reason that we have for budgeting is that it puts you in control. You earned your money. You're the boss of it. It is not the boss of you. If you plan every dollar that comes in the door, it puts you in the driver's seat. It makes you proactive, not reactive.
That's it.
It's pretty much all there is to it. Now, it's not easy. It's hard to plan. And sometimes you have to tell yourself no, but you should never have to let your money dictate what you can and can't do, like a parent or like a check-in process. That needs to be a decision that you or your partner make if you're in a two-income home or a two-person home. Is there anything else that you would add to that?
Well, controlling what you can control. Being the boss of these little green pieces of paper. Like we say this all the time, money is amoral. There's nothing specific about money that gives it value other than what we do with it. When we have control of that and it doesn't have control of us, we're able to plan it out a little bit better and make better decisions for short term and long term and everything in the middle. But it has to be intentional, which is why we're talking about budgeting or cash flowing or however you want to title it.
All this sounds a little restrictive. Will I feel like I'm a child again when I'm on a budget?
It depends on how you sell it to yourself. And you can look at it as being restrictive. And quite frankly, you can probably make it restrictive if you're too hard on yourself.
Yeah.
If you're starting to plan out some categories and your categories are, I can only spend $50 a month on food in total, and I have to live on nothing, and I have to put the thermostat on 50 at night when it's 30 degrees outside because I don't want my gas bill to be too high, or I don't have a fun budget, or even if you've racked up a lot of debt and you're paying off a lot of debt, like you can make this miserable on yourself, or you can create freedoms, and that's what we're talking about here. By creating freedoms, you're giving every dollar a name on paper, on purpose, and saying, I am in control of this. And part of the control that I'm taking is I'm going to budget savings, and I'm going to budget giving, and I'm going to budget fun, and I'm going to budget my food, and I'm going to budget all of these things. I'm going to create categories for all of them. And if you're creating those categories, hopefully it's creating those freedoms rather than the weight of I can't do this and I can't do that and we can't do this and we can't plan for vacation. Just make it part of the budget, and hopefully it takes out all those restrictive feelings. But that is within your control too. Telling yourself what this is, and not just creating the budget. And I wish I would say this more. Not just creating the budget, but having the goal in front of you. Because if the budget is really tight because of the season you're in, it is a season.
Yeah.
This is not forever. So in tougher seasons, when you're 6 months or a year away from whatever that goal is, tell yourself in a year, go ahead and plan out your budget a year from now and say, this is what my budget looks like a year from now. Here's the goal. I'm going to put it up in front of me so that I know what I'm working for today will provide me additional freedoms in the future. If you choose to look at it in a negative context, you're probably going to feel that. But if you choose to look at it as I'm doing this on paper, on purpose, for a season, and then I'll have a new season of a new budget, and another year from now I'll have another season of another one, and hopefully you're creating more and more freedoms for yourself as they move along.
I love the idea of putting the what's next in front of you as why you're working toward this and why you're sacrificing today.
We should all have a goal. I mean, the old quote is, if you aim at nothing, you'll hit it every time. You're aiming on the month to month, but you're also aiming a year out from now, 2 years from now, and maybe some bigger retirement goals that you have out in front of you.
I'm going to tell you a conversation that Annie and I had the other day driving home. Annie is my 6-year-old. She's in imagination land right now. And she said, I wish we didn't have any laws. And we quickly played out how that wouldn't work out to her favor at all. But sometimes when it comes to money, we apply the same logic. I wish there weren't any rules. The lack of boundaries quickly breaks down. It's why my daughter is in local, regional, or national government. And it's why we need a plan for our money, because you cannot operate safely in a world or in a realm without boundaries, without rules, even if they're self-imposed.
Annie for president, Annie 2060. Let's go.
She is not smart enough to be president one day. I love her. That's not going to happen. Don't worry. She can surprise us.
Love you, Annie.
Yeah, me too. Okay. Thank you for joining us. We'll be back next week with more budgeting. Leave us comments if you have other questions. We're so glad you joined us.
Bye.
Bye.